the stream. Oh, microphone, what you doing up there?
You can't hear me when you're up there, microphone. Silly guy. Do some social grooming on you real quick. Where are those crumbs from? Hold on, I see one on the back. Nope, something on my monitor. Testing 1, 2, 3. There we go. Beady beep bop boo. What we are doing today. So, I've been getting back into Twitter. And trying to just trying to gather some more attention. See if there's some more folks that want to hang out with me when I paint and stream and stuff. There's that, and I have been attempting to get this to stream to YouTube and Twitch at the same time. I think I figured out how to do it, because I'm just using straight OBS. I'm not using like Streamlabs or anything. And I think I figured it out, and so I was like, hey, you know what? For tonight's stream, we should go ahead and just do the Hydra support stuff. It's just a screen share. Should be, decent bandwidth. Might be a nice test to get the YouTube streaming stuff working. So I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and tweet it out. That's what people do. They tweet about things. And so I tweeted about it this morning, and I got a couple retweets, and that was all super nice and cordial. And I was at a engagement, had a meeting thing that I was doing. I was telling my wife, I was like, I got to be back by 9 o'clock. I'm streaming tonight. She's like, streaming tonight? It's like, yeah. It's like, I already tweeted about it this morning and everything. And she was like, it's Friday. Don't you stream on Saturdays? So today's a bonus stream. I don't know if this is going to be in lieu of tomorrow's stream. Probably not. I'm probably still going to stream tomorrow. But let's just hop right into it. Let's go ahead and see if we can start supporting this Hydra. But that's why we're streaming on Friday instead of Saturday, because I, like the idiot that I am, thought it was Saturday. I blame the 4th of July. I think that holidays got my days all screwed up. Alright, so let's go ahead and flip over to our top casting. Let me move some things around. It's hot in here. We've been having some serious rain. A lot of this spin-off stuff from Hurricane Elsa, and it's really hot and muggy. Alright, so we're going to pull up Precious Slicer. And I think the goal of tonight is to get the Hydras supported fully and assembled into as many as few plates as possible. So we'll see how that goes, because they're probably going to be, a good 2-3 hours, probably closer to 3 hours per plate. And I'm thinking there's probably going to be 3. So let's go to my manufacturing folder, Photon, Monsters. That music seems like it's a little loud. I'm gonna crank that down just a little bit, just a teasy bit. Boodly-doodly-doo. And I need to turn on Do Not Disturb, because I am getting some Discord notifications, and I don't want just popping up. That's not cool. Alright. Hydra. Where are you, Hydra? There's the Hydra body. we've already printed the Hydra body. Give them a quick show. That's the Hydra. And each of the heads are gonna socket into there, and then there's one socket on the back for the tail. So let's see what we can do here. So we have the Hydra body. There's the updated body. Sorry, I'm adjusting some stuff on my other monitor. Still getting used to running Twitch and YouTube at the same time. I don't have a lot of screen real estate to put all the things that I want to keep track of. I'm mostly going to be interacting with Twitch chat. I can see YouTube chat, but it's kind of a low priority at the moment, just because I don't have, like, it's not being fed into the stream or anything like that. Okay. Got audio is looking okay. Screen share looks okay. The feed looks okay. Alright, let's get into this Hydra. So here's the body. It's updated. Let's go ahead and download all of these. I am desperately needing to free up some hard drive space. I've been downloading these Twitch streams to my computer so that I could upload them to YouTube, have them on my YouTube channel too. Just haven't gotten around to it. Been a little bit lazy. It's like, you know, you get done streaming and it's like, oh, I don't want to process a video and get that all blah 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 blah. Still haven't figured all that stuff out, how I want to do all of that. So it's just been kind of out of sight, out of mind. Alright, there's our body. I'm going to give that one an old green because it's done. So there's head 1. I'm going to need to, like, remember which one of these goes to what. Like, I wonder if it's, like, top to left, like, left to right, top to bottom on these different sockets. So there's 1, 2. So that one's kind of curled to like off to the side. 2. That one goes up. 3. Guess we'll just do the best we can. And then the tail. I think I can fit 3 per STL, like per plate. Alright, now with this, you know what? These teeth are probably going to work better if I have them pointed up. That'll take longer to print, but I also might be able to stick more of them together. Let's see what it does for auto optimization. Nope, don't like that. That's gonna ruin all of those teeth. Let's see here. What if we go like this? What if we get that going straight up-ish? And then what if we go like that? No, it's probably gonna, if anything, we're probably actually gonna have to go back like that. Sacrifice the fins on the back for the sake of the teeth. Oh, wow. That is not a lot of supports. That's actually pretty rad. Are there any duds? So you can check for duds. Sometimes Pressure Slicer will add supports where there should be one, but it can't actually build supports to it. And you'll see like one of these little support points, but you won't, like, it'll look like this. You can hit M to go into manual mode, and sometimes you'll find like one up here that says there should be one there, but it wasn't able to build one, and you can like adjust it. Looks like there aren't any duds. Wow. Nice. Alright, now this is going to be a lot of suction because this is a big piece. I think I'm going to print these solid. I don't think I'm going to drill these. That's going to cause a lot of headache, and I think I'd rather burn the resin than... I think I'd rather burn the resin than fiddle with it. Sorry, I'm tinkering. It's weird that puts that over there. Still trying to figure all this stuff out. There is a Twitch overlay for Streamlabs. Somebody said to check it out, so I enabled it. There's some stuff on there. Pick a card, scratchers. I don't care for that. Redeem points, request a song queue. Ignore all that stuff. That is not, like, that's just sitting there. That's not something that I'm actively using right now. It's part of the test. All right, so let's get some more supports underneath it. Let's kind of pepper some in here, because we wanted to have a nice grip while it's pulling that entire top part of the model down. All right, let's take a look. Looking good so far. Oh, I don't like that. Let's move that one down. I'm pretty heavy in the keyboard shortcuts for this application. I use Control, well, I'm on a Mac, so it's Command. Yeah, I think that's okay. It's pretty thin there. I use Command 5 and 6 to swap between this view. So this is Command 6, this is Command 5, and you can kind of pop back and forth. And then when you're over here, you just tap M to go into manual mode, and then hit Enter to swap, like to solidify your changes. It's a pretty good workflow. The next one bothering me. Wow, this is actually pretty stinking painless. That's fantastic. So I've never made a mini with these sockets before. I've never done the sockets before. I've taken, I believe it was the Chimera, and I sliced the wings off of it. Like, I made manual cuts, printed them individually, and then lined them up, super glued them, used a little baking soda as some filler. You can do that with CA glue and baking soda, it'll instantly like catalyze the glue, but then it'll also like fill in the gaps a little bit. Yeah, those are looking pretty good. They're not going very far, and that one's gonna go a little bit long. That one might actually need, because I don't want any of these to break, that one might need a little extra support. Needs to go down a little bit more. And I'm going to shrink this one. Yeah, I'm going to have to be careful cutting these supports off. Oh, this thing's unlisted. How do I... There we go. I can edit that. I don't want that unlisted. I want that public. What would this be? Entertainment? Comedy? People and blogs? Gaming? Travel events? Autos and vehicles? How-to and style? I guess how-to and style? I don't know. And I gotta change the name there too. Oof, so many things. So many things to do. There we go. Okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, Jalapeno. We are working on the Hydra. We're going to get the rest of him supported. We got the body done. It's already been printed. And we've got the Hydra. There's the Hydra body right here. It's got all these little heads and tail that needs to socket into this. And these are the heads. So we're going to be supporting the heads and seeing if I can get them on the printer. And then there's the tail. The tail's actually kind of big. You got anything cool going on tonight? Did you enjoy your day off? I think that needs another support. Alright, here's the moment of truth. This head. That's looking pretty good. Those teeth are building out just fine. Excellent. Nice. Nice. Okay, wow. That's one head down. And it's actually pretty skinny. So let's go ahead and file export you, including the supports. Hydra head. Head 1, soap. Yeah, I saw your post on Instagram. Glad you had a fun time out. It's nice to just kind of unplug and have a day to yourself. Alright, let's get rid of you. Mark you done. Mark you yellow. Oop. So I know which one's which. Head 2. The scary snake. You know, just to give an idea of how big this Hydra is going to be, go back to manufacturing. Photon. Here's my fang for scale. That's a mini. Like, that's a regular medium-sized mini. That's one of his heads. It's got 6 of them. It's gonna be a big boy. Alright, again, teeth are the priority. We need to get it probably back all the way. Because we want those teeth to grow up into points. Alright, let's see what they do. Okay, so we do have some supports in there. Do we have any duds? Oh no, just the one, and it was actually able to do a support. Nice. Okay. Good. It looks like it has plenty of supports on it. We got one dud down there. Oops. We're gonna have to do some stuff on this square. That's weird. It's like I didn't even put any enough on there for to get rid of the island. It's weird. Resin printers have the oddest time working with like hard, sharp-edged objects. FDM printers were great with hard, sharp-edged objects. What happened to my... Oh, come on. Quit deleting my music. I know I'm running out of hard drive space. I think I'm probably going to need to take care of that tonight. Clean up those videos. So, just reading the chat here. To keep them from being fragile, you handle that with wall thickness. When you hollow it out, you get to determine how thick the wall is. You can make it super duper thin, and it would be fragile. But I leave a decent thickness. I don't remember what I set it to. Let me see. 3 millimeters. You can adjust it there, which is a decent thickness for a small scale mini. Let's check this out. Yeah, he's not going to be fragile. This thing's really beefy. Good question though. I'm actually not going to be hollowing these heads out just because, like, I probably could save a decent bit of resin by hollowing them out. Yeah, that one's turning out okay. But it's a lot of anguish to hollow them out. And I don't feel like doing it 6 times, and like I kind of want them to be printed so I can paint them tomorrow. I would love to be able to like pop one onto the printer tonight, and then man, let's see if it's 9:30. Yeah, that'll be too late. I won't be able to put another one on tonight. I'll let that one run overnight, and then I can pop another one early in the morning. And then probably pop another one around noon before I head off to a wedding. And then they'll all be done. Curing doesn't take very long. Curing takes maybe like 5 minutes, if that. It can take longer if you're just curing them out in the sun. You can just put them out like on a ledge or in direct sunlight for a little while. But I made a little UV curing chamber, and it pretty well evenly coats them. Nice. Wow, we're really kicking through these. File, export, plate, STLs included. Hydra. Head to so Yoshi so. So I'm hoping to get 3 to a plate. I'm gonna cram in as many as I can, but there's 6 heads and a tail, and I'm thinking I could probably get 3 to a plate So that'd be 2 plates and then 1 for the tail. The tail's kind of big. So I'm thinking probably 3 print jobs. That's just a guesstimate, though. 2 heads down. 4 to go. Head 3. What do you got going on? You look almost exactly like the other one, but you got like a sideways twist. So let's do you similar. Let's get you over this way. And let's bring you up, straighten you out. The more up and down and straight I can get them, the more easy it should be able to get them printed. Alright, then I can get him like this to accommodate the teeth. You want spikes to be going up, to start at the base and then print up to a little spot. That way you don't need to put supports on them. And I'd rather have supports down here along these fins on the back than on every single one of these teeth. Auto generate supports. Got any stinkers in there? Any duds? Nope. No duds. Oh, we got 1 dud in the mouth. Oh, actually it's not a dud. Look at that. Wow, this is actually doing pretty good. So let's get you right there. That'll bridge across that. We'll get you right there, and we'll put another one on this side for that long strip. We'll just space these out for flavor. Put a couple extras up there. What we really want to make sure is that these things this is big enough to actually create some suction. So we need to make sure that it has enough, that the force is distributed evenly along the whole thing. So I'm just using the arrow keys. I'm just holding it up to make this little arrow go up. You can press left and right, and you can actually, to swap back and forth between the bottom and the top, you can actually do like a cross section. So if you want to bring the bottom up here and see what it looks like that. I've never had a need to, but you can do that. You can also just mouse over and scroll. It's a little faster, but sometimes you miss islands. So I like to just hold up and keep an eye on them. Those are looking okay. So an island, you know what? Let's show you. For example, let's take this and delete it. All right, so there's no support. There's no support on here. So when we swap over to the slicer view, this orange that it's showing here is this is one slice. It's going to take the whole image and slice it, or the whole model, and slice it into a series of layers. And then it's going to flash those layers as images to cure the resin, stack them on top of each other essentially. And also remember that this is upside down. When this prints, it's going to be like this. This is going to be your build bed, and it's going to look like this first. And then it's going to go whoop and drop it down into the resin, and go whoop, pull it back up, let the resin fill in again, and then whoop, squish it back down, and go up one layer, and go, and then it's going to go up one layer, let it cure, pull it up, come back down, like that, over and over and over. That's how the process is going to work. And so it's slowly building out these little supports. And if you notice, like as it builds them out, this green part, that's the actual model. So it's going to drop down, cure that piece, come back up, and it's gonna slowly build and build and build. And these supports, normally on an FDM printer, the supports are fighting against gravity. Like if you're trying to print a bridge, like if you're trying to print this, let me swap over. If you're trying to print this, right, and it's like this, it's got these two little legs. It's going to and print the leg, and then it's going to try to print out here in the middle of nowhere, and it's just going to like drip that stuff down. So what they do is they print supports underneath them like a scaffolding, and then it prints on top of them so that it goes straight across. Then you break the supports off and you have a nice flat piece. So because like this can't float in air, because it'll just squirt the toothpaste resin out and it'll just all over the ground. Supports on resin printers are upside down and they're a little backwards. So what you're doing is you're curing. You have an LCD screen that's going to cure a piece of the resin it's going to be stuck to the build plate, and then the build plate is going to put some suction and pull it up out of the resin, let that fill back in with more liquid, and then it's going to push it back down and do it again. So these supports are building out, and then they will attach to the actual model, this green part here, and then they're going to be the fingers that pull that off of the LCD screen, and then they'll push it back down. It'll cure the next layer to it, and then those fingers, those supports are pulling. So it's not pressing force like gravity, it's a pulling force. So you want to make sure you have enough of these things so that they don't detach. Like if there's not enough supports, that pulling force is focused onto less, and they can break, and the stuff will just get stuck to the screen. So anyway, I realized I was looking up at this, using it as an example, but I was on full screen. So here's the little green parts of the model, and these little fingers these supports are grabbing onto it, and then they're going to be pulling it up away from the screen. Well, as you go down through the model, see these little pieces are getting bigger and bigger. I might actually need to add some more supports, because like see how wobbly this shape is here. If it's pulling that off of there, this might be a weak spot and it might break. It might break that support off, and then this gets left behind and it causes weirdness with the model. An island, see, we keep going. Oop. Keep printing. Right there. See that next fin? It doesn't have a support on it. It's just sitting out there like a little island. That's why we call them islands. When you're looking at it like this, it just looks like its own little orange spot. It just bloop comes out of nowhere. Now what's going to happen is that when it's like this, keep it upside down so we can see it a little better. When it's like this, it's going to have that first little piece. It's going to flash that part of the screen, of the LCD screen, and then all of the supports are going to pull the model away, but that thing's not going anywhere. It doesn't have anything to pull it up off the screen, so it's just going to sit there. And then what it's going to do is it's going to lower back down, and it's going to flash the next piece. And instead of like this little guy here, this little island, it's supposed to start like this and get taller, and then taller and taller, but it's not being moved up. So what's going to happen is all of these layers are going to get merged into one, and it's just going to stay thin, and it's going to get wider and wider as all of those layers are compressed down into one layer. And so this shape, ultimately it's supposed to be this big wave. It's supposed to be a big wave like this. What it's going to do is it's going to actually just be flat, and it's going to come straight out to the edge almost like you took that part of the model and just scrunched it flat. I've had it happen before. I don't have a mini in front of me to show as an example. Here we go. Here. This actually isn't a problem, but I'll show you kind of what it'll look like. So this mini right here, he's got this nice little bow. If the supports on the bow broke, then this bow it would start curving on this side, and then it would come out here and just go straight. And then at the very tip, it would have like this little flat, almost like fingernail shape at the top of it where it initially connected. So it'll like distort like that. I printed a grandma. Her name is Mima. It's Chris's character in my home game, and her leg was detached, like the supports popped off of it, and so her character was like, use this guy as an example. See how he's got like these big legs, big long legs? Her leg like started at the knee and just like went straight out forward because that whole foot got compressed upward into this tiny little thing. And so she had one leg and then like this knee foot thing that just kind of stuck out. And I was rushed and I didn't want to print it again. So I took my X-Acto knife and I cut the leg off at the knee and I glued a toothpick onto it, carved it up a little bit, and I said she had a peg leg. So that was fun. We came up with a story idea just off of the cuff that a goblin took it. Goblin stole her leg. And they were like, you mean a goblin cut her off? And she was like, no, he just took it. And it's just been kind of a mystery. We never really went into why or how the goblin took her leg, but she like had a hatred of goblins ever since. And it was hilarious, and it like became a thing. I also did it. Oh, actually, I can show you this. I have some zombies. Let's see. Here's one. His arm got all weird. And he's a zombie, so I cut his arm off. And I just made it like a bloody stump. This guy, his whole, like his leg went weird. And so I just cut the leg off. Oops. Dropped him on the ground and messed it all up. And I cut the leg off and I like laid him down so he's like crawling on the ground. So sometimes you can salvage these. Sometimes you can't. I've seen some people take failed mini prints and paint them gray and make them statues, because statues are just gray or metal human figures, and then they can use them for terrain pieces. And it doesn't matter if a statue's broken, you can like carve it and make it look crumbled or something like that. I mean, honestly, it's not that much resin. I mean, this thing here probably cost like 2 cents, maybe 3 cents of resin to print. So it's really not that much. But I don't like waste. I like finding creative ways of putting things to use. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for islands. We're looking for spots that may have missed the auto support. Because the auto support will find those islands and slap supports on them. And just to make sure that the supports that are there are working properly. So like this one, it's showing up in the middle of this little island. I see there's just a little sliver, probably because of the angle. That's actually okay. I don't mind tiny stuff like this because that's going to get compressed into the next layer, and it's on the socket. So it's an essentially round, a square corner, just a fuzz. Not that big of a deal. I have heard that sometimes things like this can cause a bit of an issue, where they'll cure, but then they'll not be cured enough to attach to the screen, and so when it pulls the model away, these little pieces just kind of float off, and now they're just suspended in the liquid. And if they get underneath the rest of the model and it presses down, it can like crush, and that's not a good thing. But I've been doing this for a while and I haven't had an issue with it yet, so maybe I'm just lucky, but maybe also it has to do with my low resolution cheap baby printer, and that maybe if it was a higher resolution it would be more prone to doing that. I don't know. It's all conjecture. Oop, wanted to look at that one. Okay, so yeah, it started in the middle, then it attaches onto there, works its way out. Yeah, see, that's a nice little bridge. And see, normally with a bridge like that, you would want there to be supports underneath it, because it's like, it's reaching out there. But remember, this is upside down, so it's like it's grabbing this and pulling up on it. And I think that's a smooth enough, like if you were to grab this whole thing up here and pull up, that's not going to break off. That might, but again, that's going to compress into the next layer, and then by that point it's fine. So just a different way of thinking of it and looking at it. Actually, really, I've done a lot more resin printing than I have FDM printing. My FDM printer is just so finicky. All right, there's going to be nothing over here. That's going to go straight round. Yep. So what we want to do now is get over here by the mouth and make sure that these teeth form okay. Hopefully I angled them right so that they just go to a point like that. Alright, so this one here, they should grow out nice and slow. See, there was a bit there where it like pops out, so that support took care of that. But yeah, they should grow out nice and slow and then come back. Like that, just whoop, and then it'll swoop back. Whoop, swoop back. Yeah, nice. There we go. Another one in the bag. I'll export. Now, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, so we're going to have to see if these actually print. I have gone through this whole process. So, and, it ends up not being enough, and it'll break off and cause issues. You'll get a ruined print. But, cross that bridge when we get there. And then that was 3 that we did. Halfway there. Whoa! And it just deleted all of those. I must be really running low on hard drive space. Yeah, I know, it doesn't exist. Figured it'd download it. Oh, that's a closed mouth one. Interesting. It still has some teeth, but as long as they like touch the mouth, kind of touch the mouth, then that means that the model can grow from the inside. It does have its tongue in there, but it's closed, so you're probably not going to see it, even if the tongue gets messed up. But we'll take a look at that when it gets to slicing it. So let's spin you up. Like that. Yeah, I like that, because that's going to help with the fins on the back. We'll have a... Actually, you know what? Let's sacrifice a little bit of the teeth for good quality fins. Let's go like that. That looks good. Nobody on the YouTube channel yet. That's okay. Really, I'm just wanting to stream to YouTube so that... Oh, I'm stuck on my fireside chat. Duh. Come on, John. Alright, so this seems like a good angle. I'm wanting to stream to YouTube so that I don't have to upload it later. If I can just stream it directly, then it's just right there. So we do have a couple duds up here. A lot of times you can just find a better position. Sometimes they can be tricky. There we go. I'm gonna drop that down in size a little bit. Sometimes that helps it generate it a little better. How far out of the way do I gotta go to get this thing to work? Okay. Looks like we're gonna have to adjust it a little bit. Let's go back this way. And re-auto generate them. Yes, we want to delete the old manual points. Oof, and it's still got them there. Maybe we can twist them this way a little bit. Maybe that'll help. Not much. Okay, so maybe we can go back a little further. Almost, we got rid of one of them. It's kind of cutting through it. Yeah, that'll have to be good enough. Yeah, but now we got a bunch of them on the spines. It's okay, I guess. And since this is so vertical, we're gonna have to put a bunch more down here just to let it handle the force. Use the force. Alright, let's see how that looks. I'd like to be able to get this thing printed so that I can paint it tomorrow, on the stream tomorrow. Yeah, we got that going okay. Big round spots like a round neck, you don't really have to worry too much about crazy supports. It's only on like sharp pointy edges. So a lot of times I'll just scroll wheel through this. Okay, now we're getting to the little sharp back fins. There was a book that I read a long time ago. Maybe I read it? Yeah, I read it. It was called The Boy Who Reversed Himself. It was like a young adult fiction novel thing about a boy being able to move fourth dimensionally. Like what would it be like if there's a fourth dimension? Talking about like tesseracts and hypercubes and stuff like that. And one of the examples in the book that they had to kind of try to explain how a fourth dimension might work, that like a spatial fourth dimension, not talking about like time being a fourth dimension, was they were talking about a two-dimensional world and what a three-dimensional object would look like in a two-dimensional world. So if this two-dimensional world was just a flat plane and everything was just flat in 2 dimensions on it, if you took your three-dimensional finger and poked it through the plane, all they would see is like a tiny little circle that got bigger as your finger went through it. And it like every time I do slicing in 3D printing, it makes me think of that book, because it's like if this mouth of this creature was pushed through that two-dimensional plane, and those two-dimensional creatures would see, all they would see is the orange slice getting bigger and smaller. And so the example was they had these 4-dimensional creatures that were interacting with the 3-dimensional world, and they looked like these big floating spheres that would just look like blobs almost, because it was a 4th-dimensional finger or hand or something poking through a 3-dimensional space. And so all you saw was the changing 3-dimensional orange slice of the 4th-dimensional creature. It's kind of interesting. Hey, now we get to see inside of his mouth because we're getting to slice it. Teeth are looking okay so far. Yeah, it was pretty neat. Kind of blew my mind as a kid. It's kind of whatever nowadays, but it was a neat young adult novel concept. Because the kid would, Man, it keeps downloading. Killed my music again. I'm going to do a thing real quick. I'm going to pause my music. I'm going to stop you. Yes, I know that file doesn't exist. And I'm going to delete. I'm going to move that file somewhere that is not iCloud enabled. Yes, I know I'm moving it out of iCloud. Keep deleting it. Move it back into VLC. There we go. Now it's not going to be a stupid head anymore. Alright, so where were we? We just finished this one. This is head 4. It says forehead. Beep 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 beep. Hydra head 4. So one's done. That one is supported. Oh, I made those ones yellow. They're supposed to be orange. Hydra head 5. Ooh, this one's like all long and sweeping. Alright, well, we got this process down, same as before. That looks decent enough. Let's straighten that out a little bit. Good question. Good question. So, like, if this one, the short answer is you turn it upside down and let it drain out. With this one, like its mouth here, got to remember again, this is upside down. So it's actually going to print like this, and as it prints, it's not going to pile up in his mouth. Now with the, oh yeah, it says upside down. But now, if you're going to hollow the model out, you do need to make sure you poke drain holes in it, or it can fill up with resin. And then it's just like liquid resin in there, and it's not cured, and that's a problem. If I forgot to punch holes in it, and I don't like that, I'm gonna move that back just a little bit. If I forgot to and printed it, I would probably just like get a tiny little drill bit and like drill a hole and, you know, get it out that way. There we go. But that is something that you need to like be thoughtful of, be mindful of, is that there's going to be liquid. And how that's going to affect it. Ooh, here's a nice little example. This is like the edge, like this little backbone here. These can cause problems with islands because it's a rough textured surface. And see, like that's just gonna snap right off. So we're gonna wanna move this down here, right there. That's probably this one. Sometimes it's hard to tell when you swap between this. Oh wow, I got it right on the dot. I guess that's just practice and experience. When you swap between this slicer view and this view, like if I, let's see, let's go back to the slicer. Let's move this up. Then I'm going to set my mouse cursor right here. Okay, it's actually pretty close. But if you look, it like jumps around a little bit because of like the way that the window renders. So it's like when you're like, I need to put one right there, and then you swap to the other view, it's actually over here. So it can be fiddly with figuring out where to put stuff. A lot of times I will use neighboring supports as reference points. Okay, so that's good. That's good. Okay. Yeah, it was just that one. That'll be enough to get it going. Oh, there's another spot. It's coming in off the corner of it. I'm actually going to ignore that. And I'll just let that layer merge in. So we got a couple fins here that actually don't need supports, which is nice. A nice gradual slope is always... Oh, that's not though. There's an island. Now that's interesting. There must be some thickness to it because it's not showing that island on the bottom. We're going to put something on it anyway because that is thin enough that it will probably snap under the weight. There we go. This is going to be a big paint project. It's probably going to take me a couple days to paint it. I'm definitely going to use the airbrush to prime this guy. Now, see, that one jumps out a little bit, but that's okay. If it was like maybe out to here, I'd worry about it. There we go. Number 5 is in the bag. File export, including supports. So, I say that every time, even when I'm like not thinking about it. It's a thing from Yoshi's Story for the GameCube, I think it is. There's an underground pipe level that's got this like do ta do do ta do music going on, and then in the background there's this voice that just goes sup sup Yoshi sup sup. Makes me think of it every time. All right, number 6. The last head, and then we'll do the tail. The last Hydra head is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace. That's a Metroid joke. I didn't know you played Metroid. Man, I love Super Metroid so much. It's such a good game. I always thought it was funny that the compression on that audio sample, though, when he says peace, it sounds like he says peace with a TH. The last Metroid is in captivity. The galaxy is at peace. Man, I am hyped for Metroid Dread. I am really, really excited for it. I think it's really cool to have another mainline Metroid game in the pipeline. Dude, if you want to play them, I have a hacked SNES Classic that has Super Metroid, and I believe I have like NES and Game Boy games on there. I might have Metroid 1 and Metroid 2. If you for real wanna, play through them or something. I have Samus Returns, which is the Metroid 2 remake on my 3DS. You're welcome to borrow it. I have a Wii U that has the Metroid Prime trilogy on it. You're welcome to play that too. It's even got Other M on it if you're interested in that one. I actually liked Other M. It definitely wasn't fantastic. It wasn't mind-shattering or anything, but I really liked the cutscenes were crap, and the story was, it's like I could feel that there was, it was decent behind the translation, but it was just a terrible translation. But I really liked the mechanics. I thought it was really cool the way they went for more of like a cinematic Metroid game. I liked how you could just recharge your missiles. It was different. It definitely wasn't a Super Metroid, that's for sure. I really didn't like Metroid Fusion. I probably need to play it again, because I played it in like my teens, and I don't know. I have like one of my personal things that I just do not like is like body horror type stuff. I had a really hard time in Matrix when he gets like his eyes burnt off. I was like, oh, whenever there's like significant harm to somebody in a movie or a game, and like they live through it, I have a really hard time with that. And with Samus's fusion suit, like the way that the suit was like, it ended up molding, like mixing in with her body and like physiologically changing her. And like she was now like part of the suit, and the suit's like a part of her permanently. I just couldn't handle it. I was like, I don't like that. I felt like they hurt her. Like I didn't like that. But like maybe something like went over my head, because that was just like I was a young kid, and I really haven't played it in a very, very long time. And a lot of people really like it. That one is not supposed to be orange. That one is supposed to be green. Alright, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all supported. The body supported. 6 unsupported. We'll make that one green. Hydra updated. Tail. That's downloadable. Yeah, see, that's a big one. I might be able to like squeeze one of the vertical heads in here in between. Probably not, though. And we're probably just going to focus on, actually, you know what? Let's see. We want these to point up. These little fins to point up so that they don't need to be supported. But then we want these tendrils to not be supported either. And since we can't, like, that would be to go like this, because then they would be up. But then that makes these point down. So what we can do in this instance is think three-dimensional. So we can come like this, and then we can go this way. Now this does have its own, it does have its own drawbacks by doing this. The higher up you make the model, the longer it's going to take to print. One of the nice things about resin printers is that it prints an entire layer at the same time. So like with an FDM printer, the little nozzle, it's got to draw that path around and fill everything in. A resin printer flicks the light on the screen, cures the entire layer, and then flicks it off and goes to the next one. So if you have like a mini here and you're printing him all the way up, it's going to take the same amount of time to print one as it is going to fill this whole thing with 6 or 7 minis and print them all at the same time, same amount of time. But the what increases the time is the number of layers tall. So this will, I think this will be a good trade-off though. Maybe we can go a little bit more. It'll take a little bit more time, but we'll get a nicer print out of it. Because it'll be less supports. So if we go like that, let's do auto generate. I'm going to crank these up a little bit. I'm going to crank this up to 22. That's the density of the supports. And you know what? If we're going to make scaffolding all the way up there, we may as well just put a couple extra supports, because it's not going to be much more material. So we have no supports on the fins and just the one up there. We have a nice thick dense layer down below. Let's see how this looks. Bunch of stuff going on here. Okay, well I got 2 supports in there, so that's looking okay. Yeah, that's on the edge, but it's growing out nicely. By the time it gets nice and long, it's got a decent thickness to it. I think we're gold. Yeah, these are all just slowly flowing up. Oops. It's gonna branch off. Yeah, see, that's a big long tendril there. And then boom. That definitely needed more than one support. Alright. That's going to be a long print. 1,741 layers. But it's going to look nice, not having all the little support pockmarks all over it. Alright, so let's go to export, STL, including supports, Hydra tail. So Okay, so now that we're done with that, what time are we looking at? 10:22. So that took about an hour and 10 minutes or so, minus the time for fiddling with getting the multi-stream working. So let's scooch this guy out of the way. Now we're going to use Photon Workshop. So my printer is a Photon Zero. It's made by Anycubic. It's like one of their budget, low-resolution, entry-level ones. Most people will use a slicer called Chitabox. There's a couple other ones. I believe this one comes with it. Comes with the Photon, and it's made specifically for it. And I believe it's a custom version of Chitabox. I use it. It's not fantastic. Like, it has the capability of doing supports, like over here, but it's not very elegant, and it doesn't have a lot of control. So if you notice over in Precious Slicer, I'm not actually slicing it. Like, this is where you would, if I bring the model back. Here you go, I'm back. Like this could actually slice it, but the problem is that my printer will only read, like, it's like a specific proprietary format that it has to be sliced in, and this, since the last time I researched, it's the only slicer that will slice for the Photon Zero. But that's okay. So I just do the supports over in Precious Slicer, and then goodness, what's going on with my chair? Wheel stuck on something. Maybe it's hooked on phonics. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Anyway, it's a proprietary format. It's like a PW0 or something to that effect. But once you get the files supported, it's just a matter of dragging and dropping and just hooking them up in the right spot. So let's take Hydra Head 1. Let's drop him in here. Computer. Oh, I need to download it again, because my computer is dumb and out of hard drive space. Alright, so Hydra Head 1. And we're just gonna squish him in here as best we can. Hydra Head 2, Hydra Head 3. Ugh, the interface is so wacky. Can we get Hydra Head 4 in here too? Maybe. Ooh, look at that. Alright, so the UI is a little janky. Z axis is going to be coming away from the build plate, so if you think of, when you're rotating it, if you think of that as like a rod and it spins around that, that's how this works. We're going to go 90 degrees on there. We're going to slip them down here, make sure that nothing's colliding. Looks good so far. We're going to scoot you out of the way. He is actually not going to be able to fit straight across. We'll have to rotate him too. And then this one, we're probably going to have to go a little bit more than that, maybe like 120. Nope. Maybe like 200. Nope, not, it's too much. Maybe like 180. There we go. I'm getting greedy. I want one more in the middle. Can I get 5 in there? Oh, look at that. Look at that. What if I take this one and I squeeze him up here? And instead of 90, I make it like 85. Just squeeze him over just a little bit. Just a little bit. And this guy here, what if I make him 95. Oh, that's the wrong direction. He's going to be 85 too. 85. Nope. What about 80? Nope. What about 85? Yeah. Get him down there. And then we'll take this one and we'll just tweak him a little bit. What is 10 the right direction? Nope. We can go negative 10. We can do negative 20. Maybe negative 15. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Beep, 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 beep. Let's see if any of the upper parts overlap with each other. Oh. Oh, Mayua. So that means that we could probably get the tail and the 6th head, and we got it down to 2 plates, y'all. Whoop, whoop, whoop. All right, so now what we're gonna do is over here. This is the printer settings. This is for things like how long, like how thick the layers are, the exposure times, how much, like when it pulls away from the layer, how long does it wait for the resin to like swoosh back in before it presses back down. This bottom exposure time here is a special exposure rate for like that first layer. It's just I have it set to 60 seconds, which is a full minute, which means that first big huge pad that all of the supports are built off of cures nice and hard. That way when you when it's pulling, it doesn't pop off the build plate. And there's 3 bottom layers, so it's good. I mean, that alone is 3 minutes. That's a long time, but it's, you know, it's nice and stable. I don't fiddle with this too much. I made some presets, so I use Anycubic clear and gray, and I believe the exposure time is different. That's 12 seconds and 11 for the clear. The clear, it makes sense when you think about it, but the light that cures it passes through it, so you can get away with a shorter cure time because it'll cure it like a bunch, and then it'll pop off and pop back down, and then the next layer will cure and it'll go through and like firm up the previous layer. It kind of shines through it. So you can shave off some time. It's like 1 second less. But we're gonna go with the gray, and then you just hit this little guy over here. It's gonna say, yeah, see, PW0. I think the like all of the other photons are like a PW something else, like PWN, like photon workshop. I don't know. But the 0 is for the photon 0. So we're gonna save this to my desktop. No, we're gonna save this to my home folder because, yes, that's fine, because it keeps deleting stuff off my desktop. So this PW0 file is the file you're gonna drop into the USB drive to actually print it. So we're gonna click save. It's gonna slice it, dice it, stir fry, turn it into julienne fries. All right, and then it's going to give me a little, where's my little pop-up? There's my pop-up. It's on my other screen. Estimated total print time is approximately 5.5 hours. So yeah, this is pretty long. And it's going to take about 28.5, a little bit over, milliliters of resin. The vat on the resin printer, they have like a little gauge on the side that'll say like 20, 40, 60, 80 milliliters. So just check that it's above the amount required, because once it gets down to the lower layers, the stuff is so thick and it has such a high viscosity that it's like it won't cover the whole bottom. It'll be like a little puddle in the middle, and you need the whole screen covered. So you want a good 5, maybe 10 milliliters above the level that you're required before you print. I typically don't preview this, but I'll show you guys what it looks like because it's kind of neato. This is all of the slice layers. So this is layer 0, and you can go all the way up through all of them. This is the orange in the pressure slicer that we were looking at. But essentially, like if you go, so you can export these. I forget which way you do it. But this PW0 file it's got some metadata in it, but it's pretty much like a zip file with a bunch of ping pictures in it. And the pictures are all of these layers. So essentially what it's doing is it's taking this cell phone screen that's like recessed down into the 3D printer. It loads this image up, and so it flashes the white light where it's going to cure. It hangs there so that it cures the resin, and then it loads the next ping. So it's just like a slideshow of images. You can actually come in here and like open them in Paint and scribble on them if you want. They do some anti-aliasing. So like you can see that it's not pure white and pure black. They actually have some grays in the middle here. That's like a slower curing time because the light is not shining as bright on those pixels. And that they do that because it's a lower resolution image. Because the printer's cheaper. It's a lower resolution printer. So normally you would get like jaggy edges, but they do the anti-aliasing, so it kind of smooths it out. You lose some detail, but it was like $130, and I can't complain. And it makes minis that look like this. Point my light down. I can't point my light down. Like after you paint it, these things are table ready, man. And it's a fantastic entry level printer. You get cool minis like this. I mean, I'm not going to win an art competition, but I'm not trying to win an art competition. I'm trying to impress my players at the table. Alright, so I can just close this because I've already got the PW0 file. Alright, so next what we're going to do is we're going to delete. We're going to grab the tail. And we're going to blanca it in here and drop the head number 6. We're a planeteer. You can be one too. It's actually planetar, but planeteer lets me make a Captain Planet joke, which I enjoy. Alright, so this one, the tail is gray. And it's gray because it's outside, part of it is outside of the build plate. So we actually need to spin this 90 degrees. Because that's the way that it was supported in there. So we know that it'll fit this direction. I've scrunched some minis in here and fudged them a little bit. See how these supports, sometimes the supports will poke out a little ways from the mini. And what you can do is you can actually kind of butt it up against the edge. This is actually eating the plug, so it's not good in this instance. But I've had it where when the supports are poking way out from under the mini, you can just cut that off, and then it doesn't print that part of the plate. You know, you don't want it to eat up an actual support or anything, but you don't need that corner. You need that corner. All right, so I can drop that there. And we're gonna have to, wait, no. What are you doing? There we go. We're gonna have to give this guy maybe like a 45 twist. The old 45 twister. See how it moves around? That's just this janky UI. It's like where you grab it doesn't become the click handle, and it just snaps to a different part of the model, and it just moves around. So like small movements, good luck. You just grab it and reposition it. Oh! Stupid me. Topcast. There we go. So I was going to say, so see how these supports are way over on the side? If I wanted to try to save some room, I could make it go off of the edge, and it would not print that part because it's off onto the gray. See? But it doesn't really need to print that support like that. Like having that part cut off isn't going to affect the rest of the base and the supports that print off of it. So sometimes you can like fudge them and to like squeeze more onto a plate. You can kind of fudge those around. But you definitely don't want to do like that because that's going to eat up that whole arm, and then it's going to create islands for those other little supports up there. And doing a little dance. Alright, so we're still on Anycubic Gray. And let's go ahead and slice it. Oh, what did I name that other one? Hydra Head 5. Well, we're going to call this Hydra Tail. And Head 6. And we're going to call this one Hydra Heads. Hydra Head 1 to 5. Yeah, see, this is going to take 7 hours. Estimated total print volume is approximately 7. See, it's not going to take much resin. It's only going to take 17 milliliters, but there's so many more layers because of how tall it is. But you know what? Since we got it scrunched down into 2 plates, we can print this one overnight because it's just going to run overnight. And then tomorrow I can fire off the other one, and that'll take 5 hours, and that'll definitely be done before then. Like I could do that in the morning. So I think this is going to be fine. Yeah, here's all the videos of my previous Twitch streams that I've been meaning to upload to YouTube, and they're just eating up my hard drive space because they expire. They only live on Twitch for like 2 weeks. So is that actually something that you guys would be interested in? Because I've thought about it. I thought about like moving my printer into here, and I could have a camera just sitting there and streaming it. But that doesn't seem very interesting. Like maybe if I recorded it and then scrunched it down into a time lapse, but I don't know. Kind of seems neat in theory, but I don't think it would be very fun to watch. Alright, well I'm going to go get these guys on the printer. And I think I'm going to... Oh, wait. We got 20 minutes. This was going to be and craft time. We had some crafts to do tonight. We got some D&D crafts to do, guys. So I'm going to slap that on the printer before I go to bed. Don't need to do it now, though. So what we're going to do... We have some character books to make. I wish Ice was on here. He missed the last stream when we were going to do it because I ran out of supplies. Hey, Rogue Girl and Violet's TV, welcome to the stream. We do all things Dungeons and Dragons here. I'm going to move this over into my craft station. This is where I normally paint minis. And let's swap over to a Badabadoom. Pardon my sunflower coaster and peanut butter and jellyfish coffee mug. And I believe my camera is reversed, and that is no good. No, not that one. That one. Let's... There you go. Swap you. I just use my iPhone for the camera. Got a little piece of software called Epoch Cam. And it works really good. It's like an iPhone 8. I don't think it's a... Maybe it's a 10. I think it's a 10. But it's not, you know, the most fanciest thing in the world, but it works really, really well. And I just have it on this little cell phone holder arm. All right, so what we're going to do, oh goodness. What we're going to do is clean this up a little bit. Scoot you back in there. This is my paint setup for those of you who are new. But we're not painting tonight. No, we are going to make a character book. Yeah, I think a time lapse would be better. Maybe I'll do one of those for a project. I'm not sure. I've kind of wanted to try one, but it's just not a high priority. I'd like to focus on getting minis done. This is the Hydra body. So all of those heads are just gonna socket into there. There's the drain hole, you can kind of see it through there. But anyway, so for character sheets, I like to make my players character books. I don't mind if we use D&D Beyond. I do have a couple players that prefer it. I've used it in some games myself, but in my game that I'm running right now, and when possible, I prefer to use pen and paper. I feel like I spend a lot of time in front of a screen for work, for my other hobbies, video games and stuff. And D&D is a way to just unplug and get away from that. And so I made these special character sheets. I've actually adapted them. I bought PDFs of character sheets, which I swore I would never do. They're made by a dude named Julian. I don't remember where they're from. I've linked to them before or talked about them in a previous video. But they were in an 8.5 by 11, like a full sheet this way, and I popped them into Photoshop, or my equivalent, and chopped them all up and reordered them to make them into 2 half sheets of an 8.5 by 11. And I print them double-sided, and I use these little discs, so you can just pull them out and pop them in there. If you're familiar with Critical Role, you've probably seen Marisha use her disc-bound character book like this. She gets hers from a place called The Rook and the Raven. They make really high-quality stuff. I like to make my own stuff. And so I use a punch from my Happy Planner. That's what I use for punching the paper. This is mine. This is my DM's book. I have all my DM notes, town places, and when I'm rolling for initiative and keeping track of that, I use this little dot grid. These are like little pluses. It's almost like a quad rule, but I've got like character sheets from previous times when I've played and just notes. One of the nice things about this, though, is that when you give magic items out to players, I just print them, cut them, punch them, and then they can stick them in their character book. They can just pop, 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 and then they have it in their book with the rest of their stuff. They can just kind of keep it with them. But what I've done was I've bonded leather to the outside of this to make it a little bit nicer. This is just a manila envelope that I measured and cut. It's a little flimsy, it's a little floppy, and as you can see, like the leather's starting to come off a little bit. It's not the best. So I've actually made an updated version where I take chipboard, this is currently a frosted mini wheats box. I cut it to size and I punched it, and I'm going to bond the leather to this and then use this. I'll take off these manila envelope things and just use this as the cover. It'll be a nice leather bound cover to it. It doesn't have to be super crazy and fancy, because remember, like, this is for D&D. It's nice stuff, but they're going to use it once a week for, however long the campaign ends up lasting. So I'm going to take those off. And I got these from Hobby Lobby. These are little remnant scraps of leather. And I was thinking of going with this red piece here. I had one of the previous character books I made was white. I had a dark leather, I had a light leather. And the trick with these is that they give you a lot of small pieces. You got to make sure that there's enough big pieces in here to fully cover the thing. So, let's see. That's definitely big enough right there. And I think we can get another one out of that. That's probably too small. Yeah, that's too small. Alright, so we'll put that back. We'll use that for something else. Hey, Miss Lenity? Miss Lenity. Miss Lenity? I could keep trying emphases. Miss Lenity. Miss Lenity. Ms. Lenity. I like it. I love online usernames. Alright, so we'll just set this on here. Oh no, just barely not making it, but maybe we can... Oh no. Did I buy a whole bag of leather just for it to not work? Just for it to not be enough? Oh, look at that. Look at that. Right there. Right there. That's it. That's the one. Alright, now let's see if we can fit this other one on here. It's got like a little hole in it. Man, that hole is really jacking this up. Maybe I can fit the hole around where I'm cutting the leather out. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so what I need to do now, I need to take my chipboard and I need to hit it with some Elmer's spray glue. Essentially the process is you coat the back side of the paper or the chipboard in spray glue, nice and thick, because this is rough leather. It's like furry, so it's going to soak into this. You want it nice and thick on here, and then you just press it, hold it down, let it dry, take an X-Acto knife, cut around it. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's not the super duper best quality. Like, it's not like folded over and pressed and all this fancy stuff. There are definitely ways of making it nicer, but that one that I showed you, that black one, I've had that thing for like a year and a half, and it's good enough. I'm not going to do this in here because the spray glue, you don't want to breathe it in, so I will be back. Just take a couple of minutes. So if you want to see this work out, hang on, and I'll be right back. And we're back. Bing, bang, boom. All right. Let's do that first one first. Don't do that to me. There we go. Make sure you spray the glue on the colored side so that they don't have frosted mini wheats on the inside of the character book. I actually did that once and it was quite annoying. And we're just gonna cut this off. I'm gonna actually probably just trim this slightly, put it under a book to give it a nice press, and then call it good. A sharp X-Acto blade helps with this part. And actually, I'm going to take this and I'm going to set this over here, because I don't want this other one to dry. It is a little tedious once you get to cutting out the little holes, the little mushrooms that the discs slip into, because you do got, like, it's not going to fit into the punch. You do have to, like, cut that out by hand. But the effect is so nice. Goodness. I really love my players, and I really want them to have, like, the best D&D game experience possible. D&D can be so great and so fun and so, like, a really great social time together. It can also be really crappy if people don't know what they're doing and don't care about what they're doing. Doesn't mean it's crappy if you don't have leather-bound books. That's not what I'm trying to say. But I do like to do a lot for my players. Let them know that I value them. Because I do value them. You know what? Maybe I can get all fancy. Maybe it won't matter at all, but we'll give it a try. There's a lot of glue on that piece. If not, once the disc is around there anyway, it's not really going to matter too much. Alright, let's grab this other one and trim it up. All right. Oh, I didn't update my thing. It still says Winged Badger Gaming Mini. I should probably just remove that. All right. So we'll just take these, and I'm gonna put a couple D&D books on them. Let them press. I think that looks really cool. I think that's going to be a cool thing. And I even coordinated it with the rings, so it's going to be like red rings on the edge of it. I think that'll look neat. All right, what books are we going to use? Let's go ahead and put Xanathar's Guide to Everything. We'll put you on there. You're a big beefy book. Go like this so that it covers all of the edges. Van Richten's Guide to... Oh no, I dropped my mini! Ravenloft's a big beefy book. I dropped the mini. Oh man. The guy in the Sphinx fell down. Oh good, she's okay. Some more minis. I need better shelving in here. Yeah, I definitely need better shelving. At least her tail didn't break. Nice. And let's get two more. Let's put Curse of Strahd and Volo's guys. I'm not picking these in any particular order. They were just the ones on top. We'll let that dry overnight. Cut them out, and we'll give them to our player next Thursday. And there we have it. We got the Hydra all ready to print. I'm going to get that fired off tonight. We got the character book all cut out and working fine. That'll be good to have. That one's been sitting on my list for a while. I think I've had his character book like 2 weeks and been meaning to get it back to him. Well, it is 11:04. Hey, I actually stopped and the stream on time tonight. That's a first. Thank you so much for hanging out, and I'm gonna be on tomorrow. Gonna start painting this Hydra. Come hang out if you want to, or don't. You don't have to. I just like the company. Y'all be good.